Hey team, a few weeks ago on a somewhat slow-tempoed Monday, we were kind of skimming through the internet and we came across an interesting article about how ownership is kind of going away, or it's becoming a thing of the past as more and more business models switch towards the subscription as a service business model. And it kind of thinking, what an interesting dynamic. I mean, lots of things have gone away, like water beds and toys and cereal boxes, but the idea of ownership going away is kind of a big one that, in a capitalist society kind of always feels like something that has been ingrained. You own your home, you own, your education, you own your car, things like that. And we start running through like how things have kind of chipped away little by little. I got to think about just, as recently as 5, 10 years ago, you had the option of kind of purchasing software. You could buy Microsoft Word or Adobe Photoshop, and that was a mighty steep price. But at the end of the day, like once you bought it, you had it. And yeah, maybe it's 8 years into that copy of Adobe Photoshop doesn't have the newest and most exciting features, but yet it still gets the job done. And some of the things that maybe you lost there were, you're storing your files locally on your desktop and then backing them up on your hard disk. Whereas in this new model place, it's almost like you're beholden to them because you get used to using these things through the cloud. They hold on to your files. They live there in the space. It was just kind of an interesting thing to think about how like maybe some of this stuff is maybe just kind of switching and whether or not it's good or bad, but there are knock-on effects. We're kind of interested as to what those are, and also interested as to how this came to be. And I think like really the first kind of big subscription service to really kind of hit it was Netflix. But it was kind of an interesting way to have videos or content as a subscription, and it seemed like a really revolutionary way. And it made a lot of sense. You think about videos that you watch on Netflix. Like you're not going to watch the same movie every night. And then Netflix is also always out there negotiating for new contracts, new content. So paying for that as a subscription, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense in that sort of content. It's cool having that old video library that you can kind of peruse the different VHS cassettes and break them out on a rainy Saturday. But content is something that is constantly moving and in flux, and also has a diminishing value to you as a consumer. The more you consume it, you don't watch the same movie all the time. So that was kind of a cool sense, and I guess their success is kind of what got a lot of people to really focus on this and start investigating these different business models as they are. And then that expanded to certain things like software. Adobe saying like the audience of people that can plunk down $300 or $500 for this software is a smaller audience than the group that can pay us $20 a month. And then if we can monetize that person over the lifetime, we'll monetize more people. Customers like it because it feels like it's easier to get access to that product rather than saving up or maybe pricing you into a market of a product that you would not normally be able to afford. So I think our comfort with this has kind of changed the way that we look at a lot of things. We lease our cars. We're more likely to rent our homes instead of buying them. Renting clothes has even become less niche. A lot of people kind of rent their clothes from online services. It was kind of a cool thing when you want to have like a dress to go to this wedding or a formal suit for this one thing. It's not something you're going to wear daily. So it was kind of a neat service. But you're seeing more and more people do this as basically a way of expanding their wardrobe and kind of having that fast fashion sense where things are constantly moving. And so why does this necessarily matter? What are the big things or differences for you as a consumer from owning versus renting or subscribing? Housing is a huge one here. Obviously it takes much longer to do this, but after 30 years or 40 years of paying a mortgage, you own your home. So if you stay in that home, you're responsible for property taxes, upkeep, but realistically, like there's a floor that you cannot fall below. No matter what, you have that home situation handled. You've got a place to live no matter what. And so this is kind of a base of strength in which you can kind of build on these things and say, no matter what happens, I've got that home. No matter what happens, I've got that car to take me to and from work. It just kind of gives you these things that like you can, if you stop paying, you get to own and still use the asset. Whereas the subscription, if you stop paying, you no longer have access to that asset. So some of the more, I guess, pressing societal impacts of this sort of structure is that it diminishes the amount of base that somebody can have in their financial stability, in the sense of owning these assets as opposed to renting them. It's attractive to those that do own the means of production or own these assets because it kind of creates an increased velocity in spending in cash, which increases or has the effect of increasing the feeling of demand, which means those assets appreciate faster in value. Kind of basic capitalist stuff, but you're producing, in a sense, it's artificial demand because you're now saying that I'm not a customer for this product to own, but I can be a customer for this product to rent it or subscribe to it. In a sense, that has the effect of inflating the value of that and thus enriching those that own that asset. And this is the sort of thing that really motivates us at Raise Financial, is understanding how ownership can produce these incentives, and our system is so geared towards really enriching those that own, whether it's owning equities in a company, owning assets, whether it's real estate, all these different things. But owning these things is the surest way to produce long-term wealth. And we are making more people owners in the United States equities market by doing for stock ownership what the home mortgage did for home ownership. In exchange for your monthly membership fee, we provide you with a large upfront position that we invest on your behalf. So we take our money, buy a large position in the stock market. Your membership guarantees you the returns of that investment that we make. So essentially, it's just kickstarting the compounding returns journey. We all know putting more money to work up front generates more returns over time. That's essentially what we're doing. And it's a membership, not a subscription. When you decide to move on or end the relationship, you get to keep the returns of that account. The money that account has generated, that's yours to keep. You paid for it with your membership fee, and you'll be better off as a result of it.